Alright, hello. If This is DaVinci Resolve. So once you first install the application, and you make a new project. Click New Project. Okay. You'll first show up on the edit page. So DaVinci works. It really tries to split things up so each workplace has its own purpose. So this is for like importing media. This is for cutting clips. This is for editing. This is a Fusion page, which is very is more motion graphics, and it's like After Effects with nodes. So it pretty much is just like effects heavy and stuff like that. You got the color page, which is doing all the colors. Uh, yeah, colors and like making sure like the highlights and like the shadows are all popping right. You also could do some cool stuff with that. Fairlight, which is for audio, so tuning audio, doing like mixing and stuff. Like you want to do audio, and then you got the deliver page, which is you're getting your final output, and they have some presets. Yeah, and then so let's break this down further. So the media page is for importing media, as I said. So you just go down. We have this. Just drag it down. And now change project frame rate. Okay, so if you have a frame rate above or below your project's settings, then this will pop up because it's conflicting frame rates. So you either have to change or don't change. So if you change it and it's on a lower FPS and you're on a higher FPS, it's gonna look janky. Like if things are like if something's like movies are 24 frames per second, there's a reason. Because if it goes on like if it's 60 FPS, it'll be much smoother, but the effects will be it'll take like double them double the amount of work. It's just meant for like quality over smoothness, I should say. Uh, for me, I can change it. It doesn't matter. Then you got the cut page. So you just go here. You could just click it. Edit page is what you do need to know. So you got tool. Okay, so let's break everything. So this right here is the tabs. Okay, so media pool is all this. This is where you import. You could also import via media port on this. Um, then you got effects, which is more like transitions, titles, generators, stuff like that. Beware, some of this stuff is only on the studio, but I'd say like you would never really need. There's workarounds and you don't really need it for real. Just yeah. So that's kind of a brief overview of the edit page. Um, the fusion page is more of like I said, effects, but there are nodes involved and it's a little complex. So I'll make a separate video on the fusion page because that's needs deeper. The color page is a wait. It also has nodes, but like it's not that bad. It's more like color driven. Like okay, it's not using a fire. So you got lift. you could just mess around with this stuff. It shows like you see how like the color, the shades. It's really all about shades, and like darker shades will be affected on a lift, I think. Gamma is more like the mid tune. Gain is more like the bright colors. Offset is just, I really don't know what offset is, but then you got the important stuff like saturation. This is like how colorful it is. Hue changes the color. Mix is like mixing it together. Highlights plus light, you know, you want dark, you want hot, bright background, shadows, same thing. Color boost is like gives it even more color. Temperature, it just gives, it's kind of like hue a little bit. Tint, see what that does. Contrast is seeing the different colors more clearly. Pivots, it's more the background. Mid detail is like the stuff that doesn't immediately pop out. And that's how that goes. And you could just restart this. This is like, when you see these buttons, this time like circle thing, that's like a restart. Log wheel, and usually if you just hover over something, it'll tell you what it is. So that's the control page. Fairlight, you never really use this. Maybe if you're more into like seeking audio and stuff, I use it for that, and that's about it. So yeah, I'll tell you about setting markers later. Okay, on the edit page, I do everything. If you ever want to like customize your keyboard's presets, it's on Click Fusion. DaVinci Resolve, and it's keyboard customizations. So I do everything on mouse, so it's easier to explain. So you know it better. You don't have to infer. So this is the trim. Trimmer is like, you know, you trimming. So let's say I want to cut this down. Let's say we want to trim one of the ends. It's for the ends. So go all the way down. Trimmer is for trimming. And you see the white box is your previous state. Okay. Split. The blade tool is important because this is like cutting the clips. Blade 2 is important. So the blade 2 is basically splitting up clips. That's what it's for. It's splitting up clips, and let's say I have one big clip, you cut it up in pieces, and you use the good pieces, and you make a movie, for example. You use this all the time. Like, you just click, it's the blade, but if you want to use the shortcuts, it's Control B. And you could just use this with the cursor. Let's see, there's shortcuts on this. Insert clip, overwrite. Some of these things do show up, but sometimes you do have to like double click and it'll show, and like, you know, like not everything's on B. Like some things will be hidden, like in terms of like it won't be hidden, but like let's say you click one thing, but when you double click, it'll show another bunch of options, stuff like that. So you do have to explore a little bit, but that's only if you're trying to learn some more. Most of the time, you just need to learn this stuff. Next, you got this magnet, and this is snapping. So when there's a cut or something at the end, it will snap. See how it snaps? If you turn that off, it's just no snap. This linked selection is so if we say I split this with link on, it's on split below underneath, but without it on, I will only cut the top. And same thing for moving. Moving will be together, but if I unclip, I could just move only one. And these videos shows like these numbers show how it's offsetted from the original audio. Next up, position lock is just locking where you are. For these, you don't really need that. Don't use that for real. Markers are these flags. Yeah, flags. Flags are just like reminders. Don't really use flags that much, but they're good for their like shows you the endpoints. Or like just shows you where the videos ends. Then you got markers. Markers are these, and these will like have its own snap ability, and you could name these. No, you can name them, change them, notes. So this is more like it's like a sticky note. That's a good way to remember. It's like a sticky note that like you have outside a book, so you just flip the page to a sticky page. That's kind of how I use markers. This is like this is just like your visual side of it. You can move keyframes with the arrow keys. Well, for me, I changed my thing so it's W keys. But if you don't know, you can customize people customizations. That's very good for like the effects and stuff. Next you got the few. What did I talk about? So if you want to add a transition, let's say we're doing here. You go to this effects tab. The effects tab has visual transition, audio, titles, has like it shows you like little preview, generators, and effects. These two are more this one's more effects and this one's more of making sure you don't keeps the raw like video untouched. So if you have this, you do some colors or something on the color page. Let's say you got that, but when you delete this, the original footage is gone. So this is good practice. Very good practice to use these. So you always want to keep your clips pure, and then add things above them, but not affected them. Yeah. So yeah, like if you go over some things and you don't have the what's called, it'll just show that. Like it'll just show that you don't have studio. But if you do have studio, you don't have to worry about that. But that's more like very specific stuff. You got blurs. You could add things via just touch. And you control, you go to effects and you control stuff like this. And you could also just remove with the click. Now this side of the edit pages, you got the mixer, inspect, and yeah, the mixer, inspect. Sometimes you'll have modify on, but you get the video, which is the video, and then you could, what's actually to do? Okay, so you get the video, and then you want to zoom in. That's the layouts, positions, X and Y, and how I'm doing this is dragging, clicking, and dragging my mouse horizontally. That's how you do it. Just really just mess around with this stuff, and if you're like you don't want to like type in the original value all the time, all you have to do is double click, or you could just click this. Double click also just like resets everything. Next, key concept is to understand is keyframing. So keyframe is save progress, and it will move by default linear to your other save progress. So since this save progress is really zoomed in, it's on a linearly go by default. It's gonna go linearly to the other save progress to that point. So you linearly goes up. Well, it jumped like that because it's the clip is different. So we'll change this to it might show that because I'm actually like technically off the adjustment clip. See, it literally goes up. Linear goes out. That's keyframe. So basically, it's a safe position. So I do a lot of transitions and stuff like that. Cropping. What's this? Clean this up a little bit. And you ever want to go back, click Control Z. Control Z is the way. Cropping, you know, pretty tough. You could also keyframe this. So let's say you want something to open up, keyframe the beginning, or actually you want to keyframe here. No, actually I want to do the reverse. Just double click to hit the key values. So it's kind of awkward, but as it's showing you like a case of that. And of course, since it's on adjustment clip, we do not affect the raw image. That's why it's important. It's good practice to have adjustment clips. Same thing with color pages. You don't want to be color grading on the main thing. You want to add a serial node, which is Alt S. Alt S. And that way, when you do your stuff, it'll show like the grade on top. Since it doesn't really have layers, like it has nodes, it's gonna be a little different than layers than you see in most editing softwares. But at the same time, it has its benefits, and it's better. It's better. Trust me. It's more in depth. It's harder to learn, but it's better. Color page. So you do transitions. It's mostly just drag and drop. You want to do in between the clips, and this controls the duration. Oh, this button right here is like the fade in, fade out. So if this is all the way, oh, this is actually, wait a second. Let's say you're doing cross dissolve. You could change the length to where it's really quick. Well, you don't see it that because it's the same clip. You could also do this on let's show you. Also do it on adjustments. Actually, you can't. Never mind. So you could do transitions like that. These are just like weird transitions. You don't really use these. Maybe for like maybe just for motion graphics or something like that. Yeah, these are mostly what you need just for this basic stuff, basic transitions. You don't need fancy stuff. Usually when people try to go too fancy, that's when things don't look good. Okay, there's text and text plus. So text is good for beginner. Text plus has more customizability. So text, you just got all this stuff. So font, stuff like that, color, size, tracking to spacing, line spacing, font type, stuff like that. You could do transitions with that. These also could have adjustment clips, stroke, stuff like that. And then, but the only thing is, it's with the advanced text, you have a lot more options. You can do write-ons. So I'll show you that real quick. So you ever see those things that go like go like this. But yeah, by the way, the slider shows it's making it further in or further out. See how it goes left, right? You can make this go faster and slower. Also, a quick little tip, you see how it has that space right there? You can just click tab. So, let's say you have two clips that are very far away. Just click tab, and it gets rid of the gap. So, another thing is this. You see these little markers? What this is the fade. Like, it gradually fades, or stuff like that. So, let's see without. And let's see what happens when we. This is really without. This is with long fades. This is show you the magnitude, like. You can also do this. And also markers. See the markers change. Let's say you cut, it will stay on this timeline. Like you'd be like, okay, this is 15-second marker. Wait, marker. That's not gonna change, no matter what you do. But if you want to do a clip, would say, oh, this dude's dancing at this point. Marker on the clip. If you also have a link, it'll do the audio too. It'll mark the clip, so even if you move this around or whatever, you cut it, it'll still have that marker. Okay, frogs are gone. The inspectors, yeah, like, so, transform, cropping, dramatic zoom is like, it zooms in, it's just like an unmanual zoom. Like, it slowly zooms out. Speed change. It's really just messing around with stuff, and that really helps. Audio, stuff like that. It goes in dope pools, I think. Fan, stuff like that. You just play around with it. Now make sure on the keyframes though that you actually click this, or you don't have to click this. You change it. Well, you have to do it on edit page. On Fusion, you don't. It'll just make sure you click again. That way you save your progress and it isn't just all the same. Opacities also, you can do fades. It's pretty much just making it transparent or not. Stabilization, that's more if your camera's shaky. Lens correct, don't really need that. Don't really need these either. Yeah. And if you mess up, just click the restart button right here. Now this is mostly the edit page I'm subscribing. I will go videos on other pages more. The more I'll go on other pages later. This is just like to get you going. And then once you do this, you gotta actually experience it. You gotta click your buttons yourself. You gotta do all this. You're not to learn this via just watching video. No one have, I know. And then all you have to do is go edit page, which say YouTube. Click YouTube. Give it title. Give it location. And then usually you want MP4. QuickTime is bigger, better quality, but MP4 is just like less quality but quicker. It's how you get directly to upload. Now with the directly with upload, you do need to go to preferences, go to go to internet access and sign in to your accounts. So that way you directly upload and you can choose availability. And you could actually chapter your markers. So you have marker here. And you go to delivery, you choose what you do is you just like name this like beginning marker and then ending marker, or just put beginning and it'll just save the markers as, you know, those chapters. And then you just add render, and then you just click render all, and it'll run. Make sure you have a supported video encoder, so you don't usually, most things don't really run H.265. For example, DaVinci doesn't even take an input of H.265, but it will take an output and you can put on YouTube and stuff. And that's about it on the edit page, and I'll make an this is the bare bones of what you need. Of course, you should always try it yourself and get used to it hands-on. And this, yeah, it's gonna suck for a little bit, but you're gonna get really good at it after time goes by. The more you use it, the better you're gonna get at it. So just keep on trying to create, and that'll be it. I'll see you in the next one.